home.
Yes, the HOA foreclosed on her home. It was valued at more than $800,000, but it was sold for less than $50,000.
He's at that.
It doesn't make sense for what we get. We have a pool, one of them doesn't even work. We don't have a gate. We get very little for what that $460.
Right, about plans to hike the Homeowners Association fees, get this, by nearly 100%.
I have to move out with my parents.
They discredit me. They tell me, basically go away. This is how it is. If you don't like it, move out.
HOAs are out of control, forcing homeowners to sell their homes all across the U.S. But what's an HOA? An HOA is a homeowners association, a group that acts on behalf of a group of neighbors in a residential area, in a condo, or in any complex. The problem is, HOAs are a government inside another government. Like if we wouldn't have enough with all the taxes that we yearly pay for the government. Let's say income tax, we pay tax for homes, you pay tax from a bubble gum to a car that you buy. You get taxed to death for everything. HOAs have been extensively criticized for the excess of rules that they imposed on people. Some of the rules are very ridiculous, and it can involve from the type of pet that you have at home, how many cars you park in your sideway, or even how many parties you have per year, your net income, your credit score. There's so many rules that have just been getting out of hand.
HOA meeting in South Miami-Dade left residents furious this week after they were told their fees would significantly increase.
They say the rate hike comes on the heels of numerous other issues in the community. Now neighbors at Mandarin Lakes are banding together and trying to recall their HOA board members. CBS News Miami's Anna McAllister joins us with details.
They call the cops.
A homeowners association meeting at the Mandarin Lakes neighborhood in Naranja Lakes goes off the rails. The Tuesday night meeting was cut short after residents say the cops were called by the HOA.
It's ridiculous. Nobody got violent. We're simply talking.
Furious community members say the meeting escalated when the HOA board told residents their monthly fee would increase to $350 a month.
The issue is that the HOA fee is going up for the second time in 1 year. And we were given short notice about the increase, and a lot of things on the new budget don't make sense.
Resident Zoe Sosa says one of the things that doesn't make sense is how residents are still paying auto insurance for the security cars that canvass the community when security is now riding around in golf carts.
And we haven't seen any refund from the previous budget showing what happened with the cars, what happened with the maintenance of the cars, and what's going on.
In addition to the price hike and security, residents say there's broken amenities, cars getting constantly towed, and violent crimes happening in the neighborhood. But these residents tell us when they bring these problems up to the HOA, it falls on deaf ears.
They discredit me. They tell me, basically go away. This is how it is. If you don't like it, move out.
We asked the residents how they feel about their HOA board.
Outraged, saddened, and threatened.
It's not a good feeling at all. My message is simply get it together. Please. Help us help you. This is a community.
We reached out to Mandarin Lakes about the residents' concerns, and we were provided this statement explaining that the neighborhood had no choice but to amend its budget after receiving the 2023 budget from the Community Association.
This is a letter to the Homeowners Association requesting a special meeting so we can replace the board members.
Now residents say they're taking matters into their own hands in hopes of making changes at Mandarin Lakes.
Right. So after watching this video, I made some notes. And some of the notes are, so I noticed that I heard they will still paying for security auto insurance, and now they're using golf carts to take care of for security. Like I think they should, okay, in first place they should be refunded the amount for the insurance that they're paying for the security. I mean, there's no explanation about it. Okay, they should be refunded, number one. Number two, I think there should be a regulation for how much should they increase to start. And then second, They cannot just increase to an amount, a crazy amount, twice in a year. I think before increasing the amount, they should just start, ask the neighbors if they agree on that. And then number 4, it's the attitude that they're managing, that the board of directors are managing this HOA. It's just very disrespectful. It's just very rude. And I think they should at least have a good, polite explanation about all of this. But it just looks for me like they just being ignored. And on top of that, the attitude and the environment, it's just not the very best. So very sad for that neighborhood. That's what I think so far. And now let's go with the number 2. Alright guys, so now let's continue to the second case. The second case is located in Orlando, where the neighbors experienced a very severe increase. But before we talk about it, let's go ahead and watch the video. So play, please.
Who live in a popular Orlando neighborhood are screaming foul about a possible increase in their homeowners association fees.
Yeah, some Baldwin Park neighbors say their proposed monthly association fees are increasing to more than $1,000 per month. News 6 investigator Lewis Bolden is digging into Florida law. Lewis, wow.
Ginger and Matt, Baldwin Park was built in 2003 and has become very popular over the years. But neighbors say this proposal is just too much. A group of neighbors have even hired an attorney trying to force the board of directors and the management company to open the books. Someone in Baldwin Park contacted me about this issue. If there's an issue in your community you want me to know about, there will be a QR code up the entire time during this report. Scan the code and send me a message.
I've got mixed emotions.
80-year-old Dennis James has lived in his Baldwin Park townhome for 12 years, but says the latest proposed increase to his homeowners association fees gave him sticker shock.
He was kind of like, what the? I was moving. I was saying, I'm out of here.
James and his neighbors all live in what's known as the ISA 28 townhomes. They are the larger townhomes, and there are 62 ISA 28s across Baldwin Park. James's townhome is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath that's just over 2,600 square feet. In 2022, he and his neighbors paid $424 a month. This year, they paid $758 a month. And next year, the proposal is $1,222.42 per month. That's nearly a 300% increase in 2 years.
I do believe there will be people that will be selling once they start seeing it.
Word is already going around. These signs have been posted on mailboxes in the community with the headline, "Another increase?" Our townhome monthly fees would be higher than any other townhome in our area by $500 to $800 per month, the sign states.
I think that $1,200 a month, a little over, is too much for what we get.
The monthly fees go towards the roof, painting, and landscaping, according to neighbors. They also have a $400 semi-annual fee, they say. The proposed increase is also blowing up on social media. This commenter wrote, "Insanity. Baldwin Park is gorgeous, but this is not the Palisades of Beverly Hills." Is there any law that governs how much HOAs can increase their fees?
That's a bit of a yes and no question in Florida.
To get results for themselves, the 62 homeowners in the ISA 28s have retained attorney Jim Bird to get the board of directors and Century Management to open the books. Florida Condo Association laws have specific caps on fees per year, but Bird says HOA law is not as black and white. However,
there are certainly legal principles that come into play and that govern the actions of the board of directors in relation to its responsibilities to the owners.
do you think there's anything that can be done?
Certainly there are options available, we believe, to the board of directors that would create greater protection for long-term property values, but also would address this short-term cash deficiency that I believe the association is facing.
Now, the president of Century Management told me by phone the cost of everything has gone up, including insurance.
Okay, the first thing that I noticed is that they were increasing from 425 to 700 to 750, and then from 750 to 1200. So that's more than 300% increase for only 1 year. And it's funny because the old guy that was there, or the gentleman, he was telling them that in return, what do they get? They get little to nothing for what they get. So that's insane. Just like the other person on social media for that, they say it's just insanity, guys. Like, yeah, I agree. I think it should be regulated somehow. So 300% is just ridiculous. And the worst part about it is that who would potentially buy a home with that 300% increase in a neighborhood? It's a little too much, and they're probably going to have a hard time trying to look for somebody else that can purchase that home. But we'll see. Alright guys, this upcoming case is something a little bit much more extreme than the previous ones that we saw. So this case is about a lady that she was not forced to sell. She didn't lose her house because she had to sell because she experienced a very ridiculous amount of increase. No, this time she was not able to pay because she received an increase she experienced an increase in her HOAs. She was not able to pay, and as a result, they foreclosed her home. Yeah, you're listening right. She got her home foreclosed. So let's watch, and then let's come up with the conclusions.
$100 in unpaid HOA dues cost her and her kids their home.
Yes, the HOA foreclosed on her home. It was valued at more than $800,000, but it was sold for less than $50,000. Action 9 investigator Jason Sturgenki is covering the story. Jason, to many, this just seems unthinkable.
Yeah, Erica, it certainly does. But look, I have the paperwork right here. I went through all of it, and I'll tell you, you have to remember HOAs can certainly do this. It's perfectly legal, and that's one of the reasons Taylor Sanders came to me. She wanted to make sure that others realize that. Weddington Hills. Taylor Sanders says it was 2020. She admits she owed dues, according to HOA records, $400.
They said it hadn't been paid for a year.
The HOA sent her multiple letters. She says she never got them. Then things
paid for a year.
The HOA sent her multiple letters. She says she never got them. Then things snowballed. In February 2021, the board got a lien on her property. Then in April, it sent her this letter saying Sanders owed about $1,200 and that I was going to start foreclosure proceedings.
I thought it was a joke.
It wasn't. According to county records, her 3,300 square foot home sold for, look, $49,000.
Yes.
She says just like that, it was gone.
Oh my God, it was devastating for my children. I don't wish this on anyone.
Records show the person who bought the house turned around and sold it 5 months later for, get this, $850,000.
So just the beginning, I want to educate other people. I want to make sure they know about it. I want them to know their rights.
And as far as the other side goes, I did reach out to the HOA's lawyer to see if he wanted to add any perspective to all of this.
So I just made some. And Jason, this is insane. I cannot even imagine how does it feels to losing your home for an HOA. I understand, there's companies out there where you do a certain amount or just trying to look, where to see where can they get the money from. But I think this is a little too extreme, and based on the interviewer, he says everything, all of this is perfectly legal, okay? Yeah, there are some states here in the U.S. where it is perfectly legal, but this is too much. So basically, the part that really shocked me the most is the part that she was, they foreclosed. They foreclosed her home for $40,000, and then they resold the house for $800,000 and a little more. So imagine how how much money that those guys you know, that was a really good investment. You know, that was an extreme good investment for them. So okay, in first place, I feel this shouldn't be legal. I mean, this is just my personal opinion, guys. I think this shouldn't be legal to foreclose a home because, you know, you have HOA fees due. And number one. Number two, this should be regulated. You know, there should be another way to get the money from. And that's what happens, especially when they increase the amount without even further notice. Like, this is ridiculous, guys. But anyways, let's move to the next case, guys. So now it's time to go to the third case that is actually from here, from California, specifically from Yorba Linda. So if you guys know, my channel is more pays more attention to California issues, but I know that California is not alone in this. I know that California is not alone when it comes to HOA increases or HOA insanity. So that's why I mainly want to include this video or this case on our current topic, on our current video. So let's go and watch it and then we talk about it. All right, let's watch it.
A complex could possibly be charged thousands of dollars each. This after the Homeowners Association claimed that the complex needs some major repairs. Eyewitness News reporter David Gonzalez spoke to some residents who say the bill is too much to bear.
Dan Yonita Ariton and his family have been living in their Yorba Linda home since 2021. And so far, it's been everything they've been looking for.
We love it. We love the city. We love the community.
His home is part of the Yorba Linda Villages Condominium Association. Last month, Dan says the HOA's board unexpectedly increased their monthly dues by 20%, implemented a one-time special assessment, and will collect emergency fees to make repairs to the property.
We all owe about around $9,000. Depending on the square footage of our respective units on March 15th.
Dan says the HOA's emergency assessment will also add hundreds of dollars a month to what people owe over the next several years. Now, some residents are facing some tough decisions, including selling their homes.
We're gonna have to move out with my parents. We're gonna, well, there's just no way we can afford that much money a month.
Brian Guillen bought his home in August 2020. The first-time homebuyer feels residents are being financially ambushed by the new fees.
We thought we were buying an investment, gaining equity, and building on that, but it seems like that's not really going to be the case anymore.
We reached out to the Yorba Linda Villages HOA and Optimum Professional Property Management. They referred us to their legal counsel, but have not heard back. Some homeowners say the HOA's lack of transparency is what's most frustrating.
The method they have gone about it is simply and plainly wrong.
The Yorba Linda Villages HOA is meeting right now to talk about approving those assessments, but some homeowners are hoping that they can meet in the middle to talk about what is needed and how to pay for it.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more.
All right, guys. This is oh my gosh, this is insane. Okay, so first, on my notes, I wrote down that basically they experienced an increase of 20%, right? Number one. Number two, some of them are saying that they are really thinking or considering of selling their home first and not continue living there. I don't blame them. I mean, I would like to do the same if I would be them. And then one of them said he would like to move out back with their parents, even if he has a family now on their own. This is a new trend now. I know there are several videos there on YouTube that talk about millennials and some other generations too moving back with their parents because of the financial situation and economic situation disaster in which we are right now. So it's becoming more like a new normal. Hopefully in the future maybe we can do a separate video about this, but as of right now it seems like that's the new trend, unfortunately. And I would advise them, like, yeah, if they can you know, potentially move out with the parents for a little while they get financially stable, that's something that they, of course, they can do. Some people are just not feeling comfortable with that decision, but I feel it's a very wise decision. I mean, if their parents are open to give them some little room or space there and rent from them, that would be cool. And then also, I noticed that they mentioned lack of transparency. For sure, yeah. I feel like HOAs right now, you know, they ignore people. They're very rude to people. And on top of that, they are not very clear about the rising costs, any kind of justified increase, lack of communication, and it's, for some of them it's just convenient because that way, you know, they can ignore people potentially. So this is a very sad situation that I needed to acknowledge here from California, and I know they're not alone with that. I know there's more HOAs are experiencing this with time, so that's very interesting what's happening here. Looks like California and Florida and Texas, they're not alone in this. I told you from the start of the video, okay? This HOA is insanity. It's all across the US, okay? And this time we're going to talk about Nevada, and particularly Las Vegas. I don't know if you guys know anybody in Las Vegas, or you've probably ever lived there before. I know people, you know, that live in Las Vegas, and for what I've told and for what I have experienced and for what I've been looking for, if you go to Silo, for example, and you look for homes or even apartment complex, you will always find that probably 90% of them have HOAs. So there's no escape to this absurd reality, you know, like 90% of them have them. So, we have another case, this one in Nevada. Let's take a look at it, and then we arrive to the final conclusions.
In the Rock Springs Vista community are just outraged over an increase in their HOA fees. In fact, it's the third rate hike this year, and this next one could squeeze some residents out.
And they worry it won't be long until everyone in the complex is priced out with nowhere to go. 8 News Now reporter Madison Kimbrough was at the very heated meeting tonight.
It was a packed house as the line was out the door Tuesday evening at Shadow Hills Church, as Rock Springs Vista residents were up in arms over the potential HOA fee increase coming next year.
When I moved in about 18 months ago, it was around $200, I think. Then they brought it up to $250. Not too long ago, then they brought it to $278. Now it's up to $416.
That's a 168% increase for an area that covers nearly 600 condos, that of which residents say offers limited amenities at that.
It doesn't make sense for what we get. We have a pool. One of them doesn't even work. We don't have a gate. We get very little for what that 416 would offer, and there's no real justification for it.
This increase could potentially displace hundreds, including senior citizens, who would be forced to find housing elsewhere.
We have a large number of Social Security residents, and that's their only income. And now at $416 a month for a place, the only amenity is a swimming pool, feels too much, and it's a half of their mortgage.
And while HOA members weren't available for comment, residents share that they were told this increase would go towards maintaining the property and fixing the water piping. As for the meeting, the majority of residents were forced to leave due to being over capacity and not having enough space for all the attendees. And in the end, the increase was passed by the board, and now residents are left figuring out their next move on how they will afford it moving forward.
They're going to make it so it's going to be very difficult for anyone to sell. It's going to hit our property prices. It's going to be a lot of people in the neighborhood might have trouble paying for it.
That is a monthly payment. A petition has...
I agree, guys. I agree with this last guy here. Okay, I made my notes here. I got so many notes. I'll read it real quick. Okay, so basically, okay, the first thing that brought my attention, they said they experienced a third hike in a single year. They raised the amount 3 times in a single year, guys. Come on, that's insane. I mean, one single rise is just a little too much already. Okay, number 2, they raised from 200 to 250 and from 250 to 416. That's a little more than double. Okay, we're talking about basically 100% increase. Okay, one more time, 100% increase. And then number 3, to get little to nothing for what they pay for, right? Like, if they're raising the price, at least it shouldn't be justifying what are they spending that amount on, you know? And then it's very sad, you know, it's very sad to hear that there are seniors living there, people who really rely on their social security payment as their single income, and they don't even enjoy the amenities from that apartment complex. Okay, I doubt that the seniors enjoy the swimming pool and they had to be forcibly paying for it. So my conclusion for that video would be, at least, I mean, seniors should have at least a discount, or maybe they shouldn't be paying for HOAs because they are seniors already, right? They already work the entire life like to enjoy a little to nothing for this HOA's ridiculous insanity. And then yeah, I'm very sure I agree with the guy that talked in the video at the very end. Obviously the owners are going to find a very hard time trying to sell or even to rent. So time for final conclusion, guys. All right, guys, so final conclusions. Okay, as a realtor, I can tell you that the HOAs are basically CCRs in terms of real estate. What are CCRs? Okay, CCRs are covenants, conditions, and restrictions. What are those? Are basically rules that have been set by a group or a residential community, and those rules are all the time, or should be all the time, included on the deed. So if you are looking to buy or purchase a property that includes CCRs or HOAs, make sure you talk with your realtor, okay? Establish a serious conversation and discuss about all the rules that are already included on the deed. Okay, you as a buyer, you have the right to sit with your realtor and examine all these rules. And if they adjust to your lifestyle, to your pocket especially, then you can for sure purchase the home. And then my conclusion, as in a personal level, not as a realtor, but as an individual, I can tell you that I would personally not buy any home that include any HOAs. And the main reason is because I feel it's unaffordable at all. I feel it's money wasted. I could use that money. It's basically a rent. You know, it's a yearly rent, so I will for sure use that money for other things like investments. There's so many other beneficial things where you can spend that money on. And then my third conclusion is, if you really have the money to buy a home with HOAs, go ahead and do it. But make sure you read all the rules, that you're aware of everything. Maybe do some research, some investigation about the board of directors, see what's their history, see if maybe there's any legal issues going on in that neighborhood. Do some research with the neighbors probably, and then go from there. But I really hope all the very best for you guys. I really hope you'll like this video. And if you like this video, make sure you stay subscribed, hit the like button and subscribe in order to keep watching more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.